Was there a meeting today? We expected the CEO to present his report. Could you give us an update on what has happened?
Well, the safest way to say it is that nothing has happened. There was no quorum and therefore there has been no meeting.
Has the CEO been restrained based on the court document to present his report, or that could have happened?
I have only seen reports in the press. I have no actual knowledge, first-hand knowledge of that matter. I've seen reports in the press. The chairman did indicate that there was some document delivered. To what effect, I'm not sure. I'll speak with you.
But did you seek to inquire whether the notice that was served has any legal effect at this point in time?
I didn't get a response in that regard.
The fact that there was no quorum, that is the reason the CEO did not present a report. I'm trying to find out.
There was no circumstance in which he could present a report to us if we weren't quoted.
Who were absent from the APNU AFC commissioners, the nominated commissioners?
I was present.
So can you indicate why your colleagues were...
I speak for myself.
They didn't indicate to you at all why they're not here today?
I think they communicated with the chairperson in that regard. They don't have to communicate with me.
Did she inform you what they communicated to her?
They communicated with her. She did indicate they communicated with her given reasons.
So where do we go from here, Mr. Alexander? What's the next step?
The next step seems to be a reconvene meeting tomorrow.
What time?
To do what? To do what?
To do what should have been done today.
Can you do it in the absence of a report?
I don't know that there's necessarily going to be absence of a report.
Well, Mr. Shadiq is suggesting that in the absence of a report, then the commission can meet to do what it has to do as far as the results are concerned.
Mr. Shadiq has exercised her mind way beyond where my mind is.
So tell us what is possible tomorrow.
Tomorrow I expect to come to a meeting that is properly convened and that we are reported to on the report, or if there's any other development that prevents that.
Mr. Alexander, just for clarification, we were told that the CEO refused to be present at 2 o'clock on this.
I have no knowledge of that refusal.
Was he expected there at 2 o'clock?
He was expecting, as far as I
Did
know.
he show up then?
He was not there.
Could you say why?
I can't say.
As an explanation or something sent?
No. We were told he's on his way. But the fact of the matter is, his presence would have been no effect in the absence of a quorum.
Was there sufficient grounds, you believe, for the CEO not to submit his report?
I expect him to submit a report.
No, but
And to answer that question is suggest that I have come to the conclusion he has not prepared and submitted the report. The impression I got is that the chairperson said his report was ready and he would be there with the report. So I don't know of an intentional act of non-submission.
But the Guyana Elections Commission spokeswoman says that having received a notice of motion, I believe, that he declined to the report was not submitted.
I have no knowledge of that. I've seen that in the public media. I have not been told that as a commissioner.
But do you agree with that?
With what?
With what
I can't agree or
the commission
disagree.
spokeswoman said?
I can't agree or disagree.
But she is a spokeswoman for the commission.
Well, you can refer to her and the chairperson who supervises her in that regard. I don't.
So from your perspective, could you see whether that report is essential to a declaration?
The law provides for that.
Will we be seeing a declaration tomorrow?
I can't answer that question. We should be seeing a meeting tomorrow.
Mr. Alexander, how would you respond to reports that this is another delaying tactic by the APNU AFC and nominated commissioners not to show up for a quorum today?
It's not my intention to respond to what has become a norm on social media and other places. If I were to respond to them, I might be dead.
What is the most likely outcome at this point in time, sir?
I can say procedurally, we're due for a reconvene meeting tomorrow, and that's where I'm at.
Can the commission can the commission make a decision without a report by the chief elections officer?
As I see, the law provides for such a report.
So
And if it's the chief elections officer, I see no reason why it shouldn't be presented unless there is some legal conundrum.
Does the law provide for the chairman to delegate that duty to another officer in the secretariat?
If the chief elections officer is not in situ, which means he's not occupying his office, then the CEO, the DCEO, may so act. If he's not occupying his office, which means he's on leave, ill or otherwise.
And in the absence of the DCO, what else can be done? Is there room for anything else to be done if the DCO is also absent as a result of illness or otherwise?
I don't think it's that straightforward. Those are people who are statutorily sworn. It's not just a matter of hierarchy. It's a matter of statutory office.
Sir, just one more question for me. In the absence of the quorum, could you say exactly what was discussed, if anything at all?
There's nothing that could be discussed that is official in the absence of a quorum.
What else was talked about?
I am not privy to, it's not my intention to report to the public and to the press any chat on the side. There was no official meeting, and therefore there's nothing official to report. Any chat on the side, it's not my intention to bring that to the public domain. If others are so unethical, they could.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. That was APNU AFC nominated GCOM Commissioner Vincent Alexander. Mr. Alexander would have indicated that there was no quorum at the Shamika. Mr. Alexander would have indicated that there is no quorum at the commission meeting today. So the report was not submitted by the Chief Elections Officer, and we're not sure why. The two APNU AFC nominated commissioners did not show up for the GCOM meeting today. No reason was given by Mr. Alexander as to why that was the case. So we're going to talk to PPP nominated GCOM Commissioner Fareeza Haniff now.
I have seen reporting in the press that an injunction has been granted restraining officials of GCOM from proceeding on certain matters. I have been presented with a copy of those documents that were served, and my perusal of them does not reveal that any injunction was served. In addition to which, and the third and final matter that I wish to bring to your attention is that no report, it was reported to the members of the commission who were there without a quorum, that no report has been received by the chairman from the chief elections officer. And despite us being told that he is on his way, up to when I left the building, he had not arrived. Those, ladies and gentlemen, are the issues that I wish to raise with you now, and regretfully will not have anything else to say on this matter.
What else can the commission do in the absence of the report?
I believe that the commission has a plenitude of powers, which I myself am actively contemplating, which I prefer not to discuss now.
In the absence of a report from the CEO?
Yes, like I said, I prefer not to discuss that, but I believe that there are options that are available to us.
Why not tell the public what are the options? Everybody is waiting here, Mr. Gunraj. If there are some
Yes,
options,
but there
why
are
not
statutory
explore
officers. There are statutory officers who have to carry out statutory functions, and maybe we should ask them. But like I said, those options are being mulled, at least by me personally, and at the right time I will comment on them.
Do you think there were deliberate acts not for the CEO not to be here and your fellow commissioners not to be here?
I don't want to comment on that. I don't want to comment on that. Well, like I said, I know what was expected to be discussed today, but that did not happen. The obvious matters that have to be discussed will be discussed.
Even in the absence of the report?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
Mr. Gunraj, can you say if tomorrow's meeting will be convened under Article 177?
Article 177, I don't believe, contemplates the holding of a meeting. But like I said, those are the issues that I wish to raise with you, and I'll prefer not to give any further.
Just a further clarification, Mr. Gunraj. If the CEO fails to present this report again tomorrow, can the chairman delegate that responsibility to another officer in the GCOM Secretariat?
I believe that we have a plenitude of powers at the commission, and I will not want to dilate on those matters at this point. I want to mull fully those options before I comment on them.
Was any reason given for why the other commissioners were absent?
I believe some reasons were given, but I prefer, because of the personal nature of those, I prefer not to disclose them.
Mr. Garnett, it's not whether Article 177 contemplates the meeting, but whether the meeting is being held with a view of carrying out Article 177.
Well, I believe this nation wants the provisions of Article 177 to be enacted. So yes, that is the obvious issue that has to be discussed.
But wouldn't it be a violation of the Constitution if the Chief Elections Officer does not carry out that role of submitting that report?
I don't want to comment on that at this point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
That was PP nominated GCOM Commissioner Mr. Says Conraj, and I will just do a recap for you. So the Chief Elections Officer, Mr. Keith Lowenfield, did not present his elections report at 1 o'clock today, as he was instructed to do by the Chairman Justice Retired Claudette Singh. So the Chief Elections Officer, according to the GCOM Secretariat, was that the Chief Elections Officer claims that he did not submit his report because he was served with a notice of motion in the Court of Appeal, which restrains him from complying with the directions of the chairperson, and as a consequence, a report was not submitted. Now, the GCOM Commission could not finish the meeting today because there is no quorum. 2 APNU AFC nominated commissioners were absent today, so there could be no quorum. The only APNU AFC nominated commissioner who was present was Vincent Alexander. Mr. Charles Corbin and Mr. Desmond Trotman did not show up, but I should indicate Mr. Corbin was here earlier, and members of the media saw when he left the GCOM Secretariat with his driver. We don't recall seeing Mr. Trotman here. So there is no quorum. That meeting has been postponed until 1 o'clock tomorrow. The Chief Elections Officer did not submit his elections report to reveal the data from the recount, which shows the People's Progressive Party Civic winning the elections by over 15,000 votes. So the Chief Elections Officer did not submit that report. Therefore, the Commission could not decide on anything about the declaration. And even if he did present his report, there was no quorum at the Commission because 2 APNU AFC nominated commissioners were absent. No reasons were given. And the 2 commissioners that we spoke to earlier, Mr. Saison Raj and Mr. Vincent Alexander, did not want to give reasons as to why those 2 commissioners did not show up for a quorum. There are sections of society who believe that this is another delaying tactic in preventing the declaration of a winner from the March 2nd general and regional elections. I think Guyanese were waiting with bated breath today, hoping that there will be some indication from the Elections Commission about who is the winner of the elections. GCOM has to officially declare that. They have not done so because the Chief Elections Officer did not submit his report. So GCOM is going to be meeting again tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and we will see what happens there. But at this point in time, Mr. Lowenfield did not present his report. Mr. Lowenfield did not present his report to the chairperson, and he cited an order that was served on him which restrains him from complying with the directions given to him by the chairman of GCOM. Now, I should make this clear that the notice that was served on the chairperson and served on the Chief Elections Officer really has no legal effect according to legal experts, because the matter has not been set for hearing. A judge has not granted any of the orders in that court injunction. The matter has not been heard. A judge has not granted any of those orders in that court documents which was served, and therefore there is nothing really that prevents the Chief Elections Officer from presenting his report to the Commission. And really, again, that's the update we have for you here at GCOM. There is no declaration today, and the Commission will be meeting again tomorrow. So Guyanese, wait again until 1 o'clock tomorrow when GCOM meets, and we will see what happens then. And I will end our live broadcast here for now. I am Fareeza Haniff reporting for the newsroom from GCOM headquarters in Kingston, Georgetown.